Hey YouTube, how you doing here? Got a little bit of a phone video going on here. If you guys watch my page, you'll see that I film on phones, iPads. My Samsung camera is what I use because I don't have a GoPro yet. Can't afford one of those. But it's a beautiful day here in Pennsylvania. And I picked something up the other day. Found a nice gentleman on Facebook Marketplace is what it was. Selling a set of 8182 CB650C mag wheels. Well, aluminum rims. And if you ever wondered, because there aren't many rim options available for a Honda CMX250, which is what we have sitting here. That is the bike I traded the Bronco for. Get out here in the light a little bit more. And there we go. There's the 650. I got it sitting on a box right now. And so I picked up these rims. Both rims are 1 inch larger in diameter than the factory rims. The front is a 19, the original is an 18, the back is a 15, and the newer rim is a 16. What that does is it gives you more tire options, actually. There's pretty much only a few sets of tires available for the Rebel, and what I was really looking for was something more of an enduro tire, because you know, it's a light bike. There's not a lot of traction, so I wanted something a little bit more tread. It's not a racing bike. It doesn't need racing tread on it. And I like that old school chopper look. That's what we're going for, a bobber look with it as we're sitting here building this 250. So anyway, I found these rims, and let's show you what they look like. All right, here we go. Here's the rear rim. And it will fit on. It might even fit on and clear the fender. There's quite a bit of room for the rear fender, but we're removing the rear fender. We're going to do something a little different with that. I'm actually going to mount a fender to the rear swing arm. I'm going to put a bobber seat on it back here. Now, only issue is the brake part will not switch right over. Why? Because it's a bigger brake than what's on there. And unfortunately, this didn't come with the brake. Come around the front here. And as you see, grab my seat, we got a mag wheel mounted to the front of the Honda Rebel. Now there's two issues that come with this. Number one, it needs spacers. If you look in there, see the little gap right there. I need to space that, and then this side, between the speedometer and this side here, about a 1/4 inch spacer for each side that needs to clear, I think, what is a 15mm axle. The only other option for this is a $300 option, and that would be to put a set of aluminum rims off of a CR 250 motorcycle would fit on this. And pretty much bolt right up, because this hub and sprocket on the original are pretty much identical to the center hub on the dirt bikes, with the exception this has a chrome steel rim and the dirt bikes have aluminum rims. Now if I want to get real finicky, I could literally buy new spokes and a new outer rim and relace the rim. But if you've ever relaced the rim, it's pretty much a pain in the butt. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of tuning, and it requires a few special tools. Now you can get by, you know, you can make a rig and stuff that will work and get by with it that way, or you can pay somebody to do it. But I really want the aluminum rims on here because I just think they look better, and I've never seen it done on a Rebel. I've never seen aluminum rims on a Rebel. So I wanted to be at least one of the first that I know of to do this. My other issue happens to be the brake caliper. This is about a 1/4 inch thick brake rotor. The original rotor is more like an 1/8 inch thick. It's pretty thin right there. So the front caliper is not going to work. So I'm going to have to adapt a 650 caliper to fit these two, well, this brake part right here, that right there. In order for that caliper to work, I need to adapt this to it. That caliper there, or a caliper similar to that. So that's kind of my issue right now. That's where we stand. Now this is a much bigger, beefier thing. I'm not sure if I can do it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to look for a set of forks from a 650 and see if I can adapt the forks for the 650 to the Rebel. I got to take some measurements, see if it's going to work, because the Rebel's a lower, slower, shorter, squattier bike, and see what my options are for that. But I'm hoping it works. If not, I'm going to be making a bracket and trying to find a brake caliper that will spread apart far enough to work on this disc rotor, and that's going to be a little bit of a challenge because I don't have access to lathe and a mill anymore to machine an adapter. At best, I can ask a friend of mine if they can make an adapter for me, and that might work. But I got to do a lot of measurements on here and figure out how to get that to work. So those are our options. So if you wondered if you could ever adapt anything else, perhaps you have a Rebel 250 and you wanted to adapt a set of rims to it, it can be done, but it requires a little work. It requires some machining, and you can definitely make that work. Now to adapt this front wheel, I need some spacers. I mean, they're just around 1/4 inch. I was able to find some hardened washers to go in there, but they're a little thick. So what I've been doing is actually sitting here with a piece of sandpaper on a board and sanding them down. And there they are right there. To try and get everything spaced right, so I can at least get the front wheel on, and then I got to find a rear brake caliper pretty quickly for this thing. So I'll figure that out. Yeah, that's where we're at right now. All right. So we got the front wheel mounted. The CB650 wheel mounted to the front of the Honda Rebel. As you can see, it's on there. It spins pretty damn good. It is bigger. It's about 3/4 to 1 inch bigger in diameter, and it looks pretty good on there right now. Get back a little bit on it. Now I got to pull it off the stand it's sitting on. But that's pretty cool. I tell you what, it looks way cooler with those on it, with that on it, than it does with the other one. Once I have that brake rotor, brake drum, then we will get the back tire mounted and we will be flying. Alright, so this video is edited kind of rough. I had to stop and during my editing process and make this quick little vid here that explains that I actually solved the front brake issue sometime point in the day. And as I'm editing this down, I'm like, well, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. Oh wait, I'm cutting. A lot of stuff hit the editing room floor. Let me tell you, it's a lot of stuff has been cut out and shuffled around. But that's what happens when you use 2 or 3 devices to edit stuff. And I'm not a professional production studio, but in any case, I'm about to explain how I'm going to solve the brake caliper issue. And we're not going to be using 650 brakes. We're going to be using something different. So here you go. I think I solved the front brake caliper issue. All right, so the Rebel is basically, the front wheels are basically XR 250, 125 and 250 hubs and brake rotors. They're identical, okay? And the caliper that's hanging right here, right there, is the same as XR, because this is a 250 motorcycle, so everything's lightweight and small. The 650 and 700s obviously have bigger, thicker rotors and stuff. It's a bigger, thicker, heavier bike. I would like to run the bigger brake in the front because that would just mean more stopping power, but that might be an issue. However, XL and XR 125 rotors use this 5-bolt pattern down here, right there. Focus the camera, focus, there we go. Use this 5-bolt pattern here, and it spaces out here. Now you can always add larger bolts and move this back, move this out this way, as long as I don't have to take any material off and set that rotor, XR rotor, back that way. Now, the XR rotor is the same diameter as this one. Also uses the same brake pads and the same caliper. So, my next mission is to order the 125 caliper in, bolt it to this hub, and if I'm really, really, really lucky, it will work without any further modifications, and I can run the stock brakes on the front of this, the stock caliper on the front of this. If it doesn't work, then I'm looking at a whole front fork change, possibly I'd like to do a CBR 600 front fork change, the inverted forks, which I can adapt all this to it. But Honda stuff, luckily, is they used a lot of the same stuff over and over again to keep production costs down. So a lot of Honda parts adapt to other Honda machines without any modifications and stuff, if you get them in the right combination. Oh boy. Well, all right, here we are. We switched cameras, and hi, Mr. Dog. Okay, dog there, my little dog there. Stupid camera. Oh yeah. So, what we've done here, more Rebel stuff here. Painted the battery box. It was the chrome was peeling off. Like I said, this is a limited edition Rebel special edition one, and I had to take the battery box apart, and I sandblasted the chrome. It doesn't come off too easy. I just got my there's the back of the battery box. And I tell you something, a lot of breath. If I look like a shadow. There we go. So if you don't have yourself a sandblaster like the one back over to my shoulder there, you got to get yourself one. That's just a Harbor Freight one I picked up for 50 bucks from some company in Harrisburg. And they had it converted for water and glass. They were doing something electronics, restored electronics or something. So they had water and glass for the glass media in there. And I had glass when I got it 2 or 3 years ago. I was using glass, and it worked pretty well, but it has really created a lot of dust, and it makes it really hard to see when you don't have a vacuum system hooked up. So I went to Tractor Supply like a month ago, and I was looking at their abrasives, and they have coal. It's or coal ash, or whatever they call it, coal ash. It looks like little fragments of coal. So I tried that out, and it works pretty damn good. Now it's very coarse, so you get a great finish for paint, but if you're trying to get a smoother finish or going for a certain texture, it's pretty aggressive. It doesn't create a lot of dust yet. Yeah, now as it starts to break down, I'll let you guys know how well it's working out. I just dumped it in 2 nights ago, and today's the first day that I've had a chance to use it. Because we got nice weather, it's nice and pretty out there, you know, on the home front here, 9 acres. So yeah, there's that. But the stuff works pretty good. All right, so that's what you have. Alrighty, so this is the end of that video for the Rebel 250. We're just waiting on the 2002-2004 CR125 front rotor to come in, and we'll bolt that to the front wheel. We'll finish modifying the spacers and get that thing deadly center in the front of those forks, and I'll have front brakes on it. And the rear caliper assembly, rear brake assembly, waiting for that to come in to get the rear wheel bolted on, and then we'll see how everything works out. So we'll get a battery for it, but after that, it should be pretty much ready for inspection and driving. It's not that far off. I'm not doing anything real major to it just yet. We're in need of a house. I have about 3 months. We have to find a house in the next 3 months. Big garage, tiny house. Anybody knows of a house in either Cecil County, Maryland, or Lancaster County, Pennsylvania for $100,000 that fits that bill? Acre property, big garage, tiny house, 100 grand. Hit me up down there below. The next video will be the go-kart gas tank, which because painting takes a while. We're gonna do the go-kart gas tank, and we're finishing the seat on the finishing the seat on the mini bike. It'll technically be mini bike part number 5 of that series, and we're currently tearing it down and going to be grinding the welds, finishing up some welds, doing some bracing for the jack shaft and stuff, because it's not quite finished. It needs to be a little bit more rigid. It's kind of flexy. And I have to order some 420 chain for it because the number 40 chain is too thick. 40 chain is wide, 420 chain is slightly narrower. So we're going to go with the 420 chain, and because it keeps hitting the washers and things and popping the master links off. And that's not good. You don't be going 45, 50, 60 miles an hour down the road, have a master link pop off, have the chain jam up, block up the rear wheel. It could be a pretty bad wreck. And so that's what we're hoping to avoid. Alright, so remember, if you guys like what I do, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you everybody that subscribed so far. We definitely need more people on this channel, and if you have any questions, maybe you want to see some other stuff, or you just have some kind of technical machinist question, fabrication question, feel free to hit me up. Give me a couple days to get to it. I'm not online too much, but I'm online enough. So, peace out, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good evening.